Yom Kippur is one of the happiest days in the Jewish year. Maybe it's surprising to you, but that's what Talmud tells us. There was two happiest days, Tu B'Av, the day of love, and Yom Kippur. Why? Why Yom Kippur is the happiest day in the Jewish year? Because everything we sincerely ask God to forgive us for, God, Hashem, forgives us. So it's a day of tremendous opportunity to really, be pure after that. There are two issues comes. One is what do we ask forgiveness for, to remember those things that we need to ask forgiveness for, and second, how to do it sincerely. Well, when it comes to number one, our rabbis give us help by putting a prayer called Vidui, which lists our transgressions, our mistakes in alphabetical order from like A to Z, basically saying that we defiled everything from beginning to the end. Now, let's look at this prayer Vidui that we're going to be saying 10 times, and the best way is, of course, to come prepared. The first word in the Vidui is Ashamnu. It starts with Aleph, and translates very often in the prayer book as we are guilty, which is interesting because the we're guilty is a number one in a list of transgressions. We would think that we would say we're guilty and then we'll list what we're guilty of. But no, it's interesting. Why? Because excessive guilt itself is a transgression. It's called het missing the target. Let's think about why. What happens when we really feel guilty about something? And here we would like to put these words in the three categories. It's between us and God, between us Hashem, between us and people, and us and ourselves. When we feel very, very guilty, we feel we're too ashamed, we're too guilty to come to God and ask for forgiveness for certain things, so have a relationship with God. So we see the guilt is really separating us from God instead of bringing us close. When we feel guilty towards people, instead of saying we're sorry to people, we avoid them. And again, that is counterproductive. And of course, when we feel very guilty about something we've done, that we don't even want to look into this area in ourselves and to correct ourselves, to look at the causes, to look why has it happened, because excessive shame, guilt say stay away and don't even look into it. And again, it's counterproductive when it comes to the self-growth. So we see the excessive guilt, excessive shame is really is a mistake. And the first thing, before we deal with anything else, we need to deal with those issues. And what I want to offer everybody to go through every word of the video and put it into these three categories. How does it relate to my relationship to God, my relationship to another people, and to myself? And again, a lot of times we need to look at what our sages guided us towards, because, let's, for example, the third word is we're robbed, gazalno. And first people say, look, I didn't rob anybody. Robbing is different than stealing even. Robbing is taking by force something that doesn't belong to us. But let's think about it. Have you been late last year? You're robbing time. Or you can rob sleep from people. You can rob joy from other people. That's the same thing you can do to yourself. You can rob yourself of opportunity, of sleep, of time. When it comes to God, if we don't say blessing on the food, we're taking something which doesn't belong to us, but God says use it, except let me manifest in this world. So if we don't say blessing, we're robbing God of blessing. Or we again take energy from God that we use for something else, and we kind of sometimes bluntly use it for something completely different. So as you can see, we can apply every word in three categories towards us, and if we do it before Yom Kippur and come with a list on Yom Kippur, then of course our confession is going to be much more meaningful. And the second point I like to make, how do you confess something sincerely if you've done it number of years and you will know that you will probably do it next year too? So here the techniques that I suggest is like putting the tzaddik, the righteous person, hat for the time. What does it mean? Like, let's say Torah asks us, our sages tell us that the best way to wake up when we wake up is to say the word madeh. It's a little prayer of gratitude for Hashem for returning my soul, my consciousness, the control of my consciousness to me. So wouldn't it be nice just before you wake up to focus on this word Madeh, feel the gratitude, feel connection with God, feel that God is really giving you so much, and He's giving your consciousness, your control to use for the right purpose. It will feel great. Do we do it every day? We don't. Would we do it every day? Probably not every day. But would it be great? If you feel at this moment, wow, this would be great, then you can sincerely say to God, Hashem, God, I am sorry, I'm not doing every day, but I want to. And that's a sincere confession of what. And so go through everything like this, and just stop for a moment and think, wow, wouldn't it be great if I were a person who had the strength, who had the stamina, who has determination, who had the knowledge, and be very sincere about it. And if you don't, then be very sincere about this, is that I don't know yet why is it good, and I'm not there yet, but God, I regret that I am not learning. I regret that I don't know that, I don't really understand or feel the power of this particular mitzvah that you gave to us. And again, it's a sincere confession, it's a sincere apology. And I just want to conclude that if we do that, everything that between us and God is forgiven, everything is between men and man. We have to ask apology for the person for 3 times, and if a person does not forgive us, that this is the person problems. Why? Because we have a mitzvah, a commandment to forgive people. So when we forgive people, then we are forgiving as well. And again, this is a day of tremendous opportunities. And I want to finish with the words of one of the greatest Jewish sages, who says, after the Yom Kippur, we say a prayer Mariv, and then Mariv already kind of beat ourselves in the chest, and we say Slach lanu, forgive us. So this particular sage, his name is Sfas Emes, he asked, why? We just went through the entire day and we are purified. Why are we already asking forgiveness? And he says the following thing, because Hashem, God, forgave us 100%, but we didn't believe it. So if we believe it, we come out of this day and we realize that this day is the happiest day in the Jewish year.